everyone, AG Squared here. This is my third episode of my Moving into a Home video series where I share tips, tricks, and actions to have the best experience when moving into a new home. In the first episode, we kick things off with an introduction and a tip on how to reduce the amount of mail you get that doesn't belong to you in under 1 minute. Followed with episode 2, where I go through arguably one of the most important things, and that is showing how to set up the internet for your home. These videos aren't just step-by-step guides either, by the way. They are how-to and how it works videos, balancing sharing knowledge with wisdom in the form of tips and tricks. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that may seem intuitive, but also mysterious, and that is how to replace a doorknob and install a new one. This will save you upwards to $100 per doorknob by doing it yourself. And as you'll see soon, it's incredibly easy and requires practically no tools. For this video, I'm going to focus on interior doors with a standard doorknob style, but the concept shown here will apply for most other styles as well. And because it's for interior doors, I won't cover how to install a deadbolt in this episode. Okay, let's get this guide started. This is the keyless doorknob I'm going to be replacing today because I want this room to have security and privacy. So we're replacing it with this product here, which is the keyed entry version. We'll start first by removing the package and showing what comes inside. The first thing we see here are 2 keys, then the actual locking mechanism called the latch, and then we have the 2 knobs which are held together by the torque blade after it goes through the latch's hole. And finally, the rest of the hardware like the strike plate and the screws. Don't worry, I'll show you exactly how to put all of this together, but knowing what each part is called will help throughout the video. Alright, let's get started with removing the existing hardware in the door and the door frame. The first thing we're going to remove is the strike plate. This thing is effectively what allows the door to remain closed once, well, it's closed. This is going to be as simple as removing 2 screws from the strike plate and then simply taking it off. Next up, we're going to unscrew the actual locking mechanism, the latch. This is also just 2 screws. And the last thing to unscrew are the 2 screws on the doorknob as you see here. Now, for these, it's typically going to be easier to use a manual screwdriver than a drill. But heads up, these may be stripped and make it very difficult to remove. If they are, I recommend using this product so that you can remove the stripped screws. When installing the new one, be considerate to yourself or future owners and avoid stripping these screws. It's a huge pain in the ass to deal with, but luckily for me, these were not fully stripped, but partially, so it did make it difficult for me to remove them. So fuck whoever installed this last time and made my life difficult this time around. Once you remove the screws, you can simply pull apart the doorknobs to separate them and remove them. And the last piece, prying loose the latch to have a bare door left over. Now to install the new doorknob kit. First comes the latch. Make sure to install this such that when closing the door, the curved portion is pointing towards the door frame. Otherwise, when you close the door without rotating the doorknob, it won't close. It's that curved form that allows the door to close without turning the doorknob. Once put in the slot, all we're going to do is just screw that sucker in. One tip here, for indoor doors, it's perfectly fine to use the screws that come with the kit. But for doors facing the exterior, be sure to get 3 or 4 inch screws as this will hold stronger in the case someone is trying to break in. Okay, once we screw that in tightly, we'll take these new doorknobs and place the key inside the hole and gently pull them apart. Immediately placing the keyed side on the outside of the room by feeding the torque blade through the center hole of the latch, along with the 2 other openings on the sides through the 2 slots on the side of the latch. Once all those 3 are fed in, we'll take the other doorknob and simply feed its slots through the torque blade and make sure the side slots align with the other knob's side slots. It will all seamlessly click together without much effort if done right. If you struggle getting them aligned, pull it away and rotate it so that you can get the two slots on the side to align with the two slots from the other one. Once you get them together, hold the two knobs together with one hand, and with the other hand, make sure that turning the knobs and using the key functions as expected. With that confirmed, we'll now feed the two screws from the inside of the room through the slots to keep the two knobs held together. I like to start tightening the screws with my hand, as this will add some space for me to fit in a screwdriver to finish tightening them. I'll do this with both screws. Once I can screw them further with my hand, I'll take this screwdriver and tighten them. But don't over tighten them, because when doing so, it may mess with the locking mechanism. You only want them tight enough to avoid the doorknobs from being jiggly. They should be firm onto that door. Some doorknobs have a cool trick where you can actually remove the piece that's rounded from the knob to give you full access to easily screw the screws in. Unfortunately, that's not the case with these ones, so as you can see, I'm just screwing it with my screwdriver at an angle. Once finished, I like to test the knobs and the latch to make sure that the locking, unlocking, and turning of the knobs all works as expected. I like to make sure that the knobs also rotate in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions to accommodate both right and left-handed individuals. And guess what? To no surprise, this works just as expected. Now to the last step, and that's to install the new strike plate. This part, although it should be simple, could actually be very annoying depending on how worn out the holes are from previous screws. But for the most part, hopefully you're able to reuse those holes. When putting on the strike plate, make sure that the metal part that sticks out is pushed flush with the door frame, as this is what's going to provide support when someone tries to open the door without turning the knob. If the previous holes line up well, I'll simply screw the two screws in and presto, finish. But if they don't align well, this is where you may benefit from using a long screw, 3 to 4 inches, so that it holds well and drills deep into the door frame. Alternatively, you can use some tricks like breaking a match and putting in some glue in the hole with those wooden matches prior to screwing it in, and that's going to allow a regular screw to have a strong hold. When you're screwing these in, don't tighten them all the way just yet. You'll want to do a test to ensure that the door still opens and closes as expected. But once validated, we're going to finish tightening these all the way through. And that, folks, wraps up this easy do-it-yourself project and renovation. I hope this video helps you install at $0 for labor cost the doorknobs of your dreams and make your home feel, well, like your home. When I bought my first home back in 2018, I paid $70 per doorknob to do this work for a grand total of over $300. That is insane. You just saw how easy this is to do. It doesn't require any deep expertise unless you have a very damaged door frame, and at that point, at the very least, you have tried doing it yourself and you've already removed the doorknobs, and someone like a handy person can finish the job without breaking the bank. So folks, I hope you found this useful, and if you did, please consider liking and sharing it with your social circle. And if you're interested in any more content around topics like DIY projects, repairs and renovations, or even topics on real estate, finance, or technology, check out my YouTube channel. I got loads of playlists for you across all these topics. And as always, folks, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.